Our theme this month is harnessing the power of love. And of course, as we've already said, we're talking about the power of love with the power of will. I want to begin with a story. This is a made-up story. You all know the story of creation as it's put out in the book of Genesis in the Bible. But here we're going to tell a story that looks at it just a little bit differently, from a different perspective. So visualize with me. One warm, sunny day, a tree, like an umbrella, shielding from the sun when it is too strong. And beneath that tree, a bed of moss, light green, cushy moss. We sit and we look at it for a moment, and after a while we begin to notice some movement, something under that moss. And that movement becomes more and more distinct, and we see a form pushing up from the moss and eventually pushing through a form that's familiar to us, the form of a man and a woman. Well, that's not so funny, because both Amy and David have the root meaning of beloved. So here are Amy and David emerging into this world of sunlight, gentle flowing streams, and consciousness, awareness. Suddenly they become aware. Now Amy and David, because it's before language was instituted, before words and writing and reading, but somehow Amy and David have a compass. They have, as it were, a manual for living. And they're beginning to get a sense of themselves, have a knowing of how to proceed. What they first notice, and what the manual tells them, is that moss from which they emerged, that tree that's above them, the stream that goes by, they're not separate from that, or anything that they can see or feel. There is no separation whatsoever. All are one. And they relax into that oneness. They are connected not only with each other, but connected with all that we think of as nature. There is a oneness about it. From that manual, as they read it, not read it in terms of words, but as they read it from that knowing within, they find that all that is created, and they know it's created, has something to do with them. That creator that is within and a part of every bit of creation, part of them. That creator deems everything to be equal and connected and together. They look at all of the aspects of creation, and they know that there's a divine plan, a divine sense of order, and that order is one of connectedness, one of oneness. Aspects that come along with that creation is a great sense of life, not just life for my life, but life, the life of all that is. Aspects like love, which we've started to talk about, that ability to harmonize and to unify. That's there, that's written in that manual. And then, as we will speak as well, the power of will, the power to decide to connect with that love. And we might say to choose right action or the next right action with compassion and with love. Oh, there's wisdom too in that manual. A gift that's also given to creation, whatever it is, a certain wisdom, a certain power. We talked about, Donna mentioned the power of power. There's understanding. And there's imagination, for Amy and David are not only created beings, they're creating beings. They too are creators. Co-creators with that divine sense that is within them. So I'm imagining that Amy and David stayed in that idyllic state, that nirvana that was there for some period of time. But eventually, because they had a power to choose, they allowed their thoughts to kind of move away from that inner manual, and they saw that they had a unique distinction. And so the focus was turned out of that power and that love within to something that we might call an egoic state. It's about me. It's all about me. Now, they didn't stay that way forever. They probably alternated between that state of love and oneness and that state of distinction and separation. And that's what it led to for Amy and David. A belief that we are separate, not connected, as the manual says and as they were created. Separation was very tempting. And so they engaged in acts that were compatible with that belief in separation. Oneness faded, separation came and often took the fore. It's like the manual had been twisted so that the meaning and the perspective was different. That harmonious experience with which they were created was diminished. We'll leave our story with Amy and David there. We'll pick it up a little bit later. But we've talked about two of those abilities, two of those values, those characteristics that were gifts that were in the manual, and that is love and will. We think of love as, oh, I love you. That was a loving thing to do. But we still keep our distance from even the one that we love. Because we too have a bit of that belief in separation, if not a grand sense of that separation. But love, that quality of love that we started to talk about as unity, as harmony, that love, as Rumi would say, is the bridge between you and everything. Love, the bridge between you and everything. Jesus in the Gospel of John in the Christian Scriptures says, love one another as I have loved you, freely without limit. Cohesion, connection, compassion, even healing, and certainly inclusion, as we all are equal, not one better than another or less than another. But that love can be twisted. That giving that we associate with love can be giving to get. That it's all about me coming back into action. I give so that I can receive. When my giving is there, there's kind of an underlying motive. I want something back on that. That's why I'm giving. Operate. When Saturday Soul Boost yesterday, one of, I think it was Kay, I don't know if you're here, Kay. Kay's in Alabama where it's very cold right now. But Kay told us, she said, you remembered the idea that I think was put out by Wayne Dyer. So, I trade you very much. I trade you very much. I'm going to give you something, but you're going to give me something back. Instead of, I love you very much. I freely give something that binds us together. Love that's got a hook to it. We're always looking for something. Love because we have a need to rescue. Anybody ever been in that situation? You just felt like you just had to fix somebody. You had to rescue them. It was your job to do. I'm not sure that that's love. Not sure that that's love. Or control. Maybe you say, I'm going to help them do what's best for them. Well, maybe not. Or some kind of philanthropy that's done for status or just to make you feel good. And by the way, love does make you feel good, but if it's done just to make you feel good, it diminishes that compassion. Or love because you ought to do something. You should. Not the true spirit of love that we talk about when we talk about harmony, unity, connection, equally including of everyone. And so when that love goes awry, our uniqueness gets worshipped. Not our oneness, but our uniqueness. How far have we gone, stopping from referring to the manual? I never do that when I get something and I have to put it together. I'm always right on the manual. Well, maybe not. And maybe we are not always right there with that manual implanted within us. How far we have gotten from that golden thread that comes with our creation, that thread that connects us with all that is. Love. We'll come back to that when we put it together with will, but let's talk about will for a minute. Will, the ability to choose and decide. You know, back there in that creation, there was the manual that was given to Amy and David, but one of the gifts that came along with that was their ability to choose and their gift to choose. Sometimes we call it free will. And so that being able to choose, even in error, gets twisted. And we get away from the beauty of love as it is, and will becomes a tool for us to make it in our own image, to make life in our own image. That's going to show up in that twisted form as domination, control, making us better than somebody else, or maybe even making us less than somebody else. That ability that we have to exclude people because we don't like them, we don't like their politics, we don't like their religion, we don't like their culture, we just don't like them. And will can allow us to make those choices. But it's that twisted kind of will. It's not that will that's part of the original design. The ability to choose in linkage with the power of love. That will is strong, being strong-willed. That will is willful. That will runs over others. That will thinks only of me. But will is a divine gift. That ability to choose. And when we remember that creation in the manual that we first read back there, we understand that we are divine. That Creator, as we understand that, is also within us. We're not only human, we're not only unique beings, we are divine. We are connected, we are one. Both of that is within us. We have this creative gift to choose and decide, but when we do it in alignment with our divine nature, when we remember what that divine nature is, we choose rightly. I grew up in a house that talked about God's will a lot. Is that God's will for you? But then the next words were, well, you should. I think not. Will is something as given to us as a gift that takes the energy of love, and it's great to think of energy of love. Did you know that Albert Einstein thought of energy as love? Even the scientists go there. Will takes that energy that is divine love and sets it into motion. Oh, I can think of so many things. Well, I just didn't take that opportunity. Oh, I had great ideas. I had a vision of something. It was loving. It was beautiful. It was divine. But I didn't choose to set it into motion. I didn't discern what was mine to do about it. But when I did, on occasion, and you've probably experienced this too, when you do on occasion take that sense of divine love energy and choose to use it rightly, choose to experience the guidance of that knowing within us, that's also within us another power. We're not focusing on that today. But when we choose rightly in this world, that love, that compassion is put into motion. So let's go back to Amy and David. Yes, it didn't take them long to forget what the manual said, and they kind of stopped looking at it. But they had the opportunity. They could have gone back and looked at that manual. They could have remembered the state of their creation. They could have chosen putting that love, that oneness, and that ability to choose together. They could have put, wow, wouldn't that have been powerful? And the same is true for us. That manual is still within us. And when we choose rightly, we set the energy of love in motion. There's so much more. As we were in Saturday Soul Boost yesterday, realize how big this topic is. And we've only scratched the surface. But I hope that you'll continue to contemplate this in the days to come, because this is a love month. Let's get that love in motion. I come to the end of the service where I always say, okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? I'm going to suggest something that we believe in really strongly in unity. How about prayer? I don't mean a scripted prayer. I mean quietness, listening for Spirit within, opening ourselves wide open. When we do that, love, that sense of connection will come to the fore. And when we do, we'll also know what is ours to do. What's the next best right thing for me to do? That's how to take that power of love and that power of will, couple them together. One other suggestion I would make. Whenever you're faced with a decision, no matter how big that decision is, stop for 1 minute. Remember who you are. Remember that you are love. And listen. Just take 1 minute. So sometime this week, well, I hope many times this week, try that out. Be in a spirit and an attitude of prayer, seeking to know, seeking to commune with the divine, seeking to be the one that we all are. Take a minute. Take a minute whenever you have a decision to make. I think you'll find at least it will change your perspective. So there we have it. Love and will. Choosing rightly, acting with authentic compassion and love. And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Neal. It reminds me of returning to the beginning. Returning to the beginning. Beginning of creation.
So Donna, I know you're going out online, but we're not hearing you here, so I will carry on just a little bit. It's time for us to just sit back and be grateful for all that we are and all that we have. A time for us to go ahead and consider what's the next right thing for us to do. And it's a time when we often look at how can we contribute? How are we led to contribute? Not how should we contribute, but how are we led to contribute? How are we led to contribute to this community, Unity of Payson? And so it's a time for that. We'll have a short, brief period of silence. We have a basket back near the door for Unity of Payson for your gifts to this ministry as you're called to do so. If you're online, we also have an opportunity for you to give. Go to unityofpayson.org. There's a donate button. You can make this contribution. I challenge you to just look and say, what is mine to do here? And to do that, to do what you're called to do. So I'd like us to say this affirmation that we always say. Freely we give, and freely we